Hi, this is Gmac for the Razor Company and welcome to another shave. Today's focus will be on a soap, Zingari Man Amir. Stick with me. When it comes to shaving soaps, I've got a few favorite brands and I do like to try out every single soap brand possible. I do like to try out everything that I can get my hands on, and that rabbit hole is slippery, it's soapy, and it's never ending where shaving soaps are concerned. But I love a couple of soap makers very much. I love what Will does for, Barrister and Man. I do love, what Peter Chakalis does for Ariana and Evans. Um, I do love what Shannon Logan does with Elysian soaps, but one of my early favorites when I started shaving and a soap that I really fell in love with, or a soap brand, was Zingari Man. I love everything Heather Melton does. I like Heather Melton, that's it. But all her products are really, really stunning and great on the face. They work beautifully, very skin friendly. Even the recovery splash is top notch. So I said, why not take a soap that is close to my heart for a reason? And that reason aligns with why Heather Melton really created that soap. So let's first talk about Zingari Man Amir. So Zingari Man Amir is a very Middle Eastern kind of soap. And, Heather talks about how on a trip to Qatar, she did find that smell of rose, oud, and smoke in the air often. And I'll tell you why. Let me put that down to one thing. A lot of Qataris, a lot of the Arabs that I know, my own friends, they tend to use Tom Ford or, Joe Malone, many of these fragrances, but they use the intense ones. So there's tobacco vanilla, there is tobacco oud, or there is tobacco maybe mixed with something else, or there is oud mixed with something else, or rose and oud. That's a very, very popular fragrance. And it's not just the men, even some of the women wear woody fragrances. Now, the beauty of those fragrances is with that climate and the way that these top shelf fragrances are made, it's always a hint of it. It's like you go to a Chinese restaurant that is cheap as chips, and they're going to throw in a whole lot of probably MSG into the food. I'm not saying everybody does that, but they could to increase the flavor. Then you go to a premium restaurant that uses really, really expensive ingredients, and they might not use an additive, or they might just put a pinch of it. So that's where oud really plays such a great part. Used with the right amount, it can really bring a woody fragrance together with a floral, but in excess it can be overwhelming, and I'm not a big fan of that. So let's talk a bit about this soap. Now, I was in Qatar for an event for about 16 or 17 days, and I spent a good bit of time there, and the moment I bought this soap, it reminded me of that trip. And I remember one of the things that I used to love doing there was going to the Souk Waqif, which is the wet market, and you'd get many of the dealers, they're so friendly, they would call you in, and while you sit or check out their goods, they would serve you tea, which is red tea. Just light black tea with pure saffron and sugar. Totally refreshing for that weather. And in Qatar, I was there during the month of Feb, you got to believe this, where the weather drops to, it was the two coldest days there. It was about 2 degrees and 3 degrees Celsius. Think about it. In the desert, isn't that crazy? So chilly, absolutely chilly. Let's get down to talking about the soap. So the soap has all the usual ingredients inside it, like, don't know whether I need to read them off, but goat's milk, shea butter. It's got jojoba oil, oat kernel, castor oil, olive oil, all the goodness of the Sego base, or the Sego base. But let's talk about the fragrance, rose, patchouli, oud. That's what's written out there. I'll open it up for you because I've used quite a bit of it. Oh, it just smells gorgeous. Just amazing. So that's, I keep scooping that out. So the actual notes on it are supposed to be lemon, rose, and smoke. And then that's the opening with, cedar, woods, amber, and oud at the center. And that all is supposed to sit on a base of musk, patchouli, and labdanum. Let me tell you this. I can't break those notes up. but I can smell the patchouli very, it's very light. The oud overpowers the patchouli. The cedar and that woody kind of blend is hidden in the background. I don't really get too much of lemon, but the rose is right there. The smoke is there. And the musk. Rose, I just love the way Heather's described this. Rose, patchouli, oud. That's what it is. Just let's go with that. Rose, patchouli, oud. Forget the whole fragrance notes, inside. What I do love about the soap is one more thing. Heather Melton often downplays herself. She always talks about, the fragrances not being that great when she does them, which is why then she outsources them, like Sean Mahler has done some of the fragrances. The House of Rirana in Malaysia has done some fragrances. I think Heather Melton does knockout fragrances. The Watchman, one of her own favorites. Amir, I mean, this is hers, isn't it? So she makes great fragrances. Big fan of hers. So let's get straight down to shaving. For the aftershave, I'm going to be matching that with Zingariman number 1. And the simple reason is because this has opening notes of Turkish rose, vanilla. It's got oud and Bulgarian rose at the center. And it's got sandalwood, amber, and I think a little bit of patchouli as well. So we'll get to that later, but I just thought it was a good match, and I don't have the matching Amir Recovery Splash. For the brush, I'm going to be going with the Aesop brush. For the blade, I'm going to be going with the Aesop is a 23mm brush. It's supposed to be made in the same facility where Edwin Jagger makes their brushes. It's the EJ SDF fiber. I love that brush. And then for the blade, the Gillette Platinum. Available at the razor company very easily. So is this. In case you want to get it, I would highly recommend it. And for the razor, let's go. Oh, I did forget my lather bowl. Hendrix Classics and Company stainless steel lather bowl. The razor is a special one, released in the 1932s, and I just had to use it for a shave. Mine does not have the iconic red ring on it, but this is the Eclipse Red Ring razor. Absolutely beautiful. You can see, the red ring written down here. And on the other side, of course, you can see Eclipse that's written here. It also has a magnet, and I'm going to show you that, which is pretty cool at the bottom. It was supposed to be the blade recovery magnet, which of course Yates did something very similar in current times. So if you put that down, and there you go. So it's got the paper, but otherwise it just picks it up easily. So there's a magnet down here. That's very cool, actually. So I'm just going to load the blade first before we can actually start off with the shave. You just loosen it from here. It's a 2-piece razor. Actually 3-piece if you remove the bottom, but just have to pull this out. You get the blade. Normally I kind of do it upside down, but the pins on this, on the red ring, are on the base plate itself. So just gonna put that blade in and get the cap on. This is my first shave with it, so if I don't get it right for some reason, you'll have to forgive me for that. Just gonna get this together. Not really used to its mechanism. Oh. Need to check the alignment. So the reason why the red ring was originally made was so that it could have perfect blade alignment that could give you less nicks and cuts, and as you can see, it's aligned perfectly there, the blade. It's gonna show it up. Blade tabs do stick out. I mean, you're talking 1932 to 40s, 50s. This razor, of course, did kind of sell a lot during those days. We'll talk about it during the shave. Let's get straight down to lathering up first. And do you own an Eclipse Red Ring? Tell me about your experience, because I'm totally new to it, and it's going to be my first shave with it, so I'm quite excited about it just to find out. I did bloom the soap for about 5 minutes in warm water, and I used a lot of water today. Zingari is not a very thirsty soap. It's quite easy to actually, get a lather going, and it's normally a low structure lather, so if your lather is exceptionally foamy and thick, then you got too much of water in. Like pretty much I think I've done that today, but you know, yeah, look at that. So just going to work up a decent lather. I love the way it smells. It's just divine. I don't know if you're into this kind of, but I love rose and I love anything that is woody, and I do love a pinch or a hint of oud. And I think Heather just got it right with this great fragrance. You know, 10 on 10 for this creation. 10 on 10, seriously. And it's a strong fragrance. It's probably put it down to an 8 on 10. It's that strong. So if you like it, wow, it's a perfect fragrance. Let's start lathering up. Got those, got quite a decent lather going there. Unlike some of the other soaps that have, you know, eucalyptus or mint or a little bit of lemon or something cooling, chamomile, this one feels warm in the face, and that's due to the presence of those essential oils, which are essentially warm. And I do love the fact whenever a soap artisan tries to recreate a moment in time, a trip. Now for this time it was Heather Melton, you know, trying to recreate a trip to Qatar. But and I think she's captured that beautifully, because if you've traveled to the Middle East, not just to Qatar, to Doha, that's a place that I have been to. But if you've been to even Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, you're going to smell very similar fragrances, because people there use a lot of oud, they use a lot of woody fragrances, and they're pretty heavy on them, some of them, because they use the intense, where the essential oil content in that fragrance would be like about 20-25%. Got a lovely sheen on this lather. As I said, I have hydrated it a lot. But it just feels wonderful on the face. And if you're a Zingari Man, you know, soap user, hey, that's a nice way to put it. If you're a Zingari man. So, but if you're, you know, a loyalist or a fan of the soaps, you will know that they are normally very, very slick. Time to get going with the Eclipse Red Ring, and my first ever pass with it. I do love the way this base plate is. It's in between an open and a closed comb. I do know that Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements had created the Quantum razor to kind of mimic, or it was a homage to, the Eclipse Red Ring. This is a pretty little guy actually. It's not really too big. It's very light. It's a Gmac razor. If you want to know more about the Eclipse Red Ring, and I didn't want to do that in the video, just go to the razor company. There's a beautiful article there that was written in 2004 to its latter part of 2004. Great information. First pass. It's supposed to be a razor that is fairly mild, not a very steep shaver. It goes a little bit shallow because the blade's got to make contact with your skin. This would be great for multiple days growth, to, you know, kind of trap the hair. It is very smooth. I've not been a big fan, although I do believe, like, the Gillette Tech is such a nice and easy razor to use. I'm not a fan of the Tech. There are, you know, major fans of the Tech, and it's only because I find it a bit too mild for me. And I don't mean mild in a way where I have to, but that I don't like mild, but mild in a way where it's not as efficient as I would like it to be. So then I'll end up doing a lot of touch-ups. This one is super mild too, but I can feel it cleaning up, you know, most of the stubble. And that's the interesting part. Very easy to use. I'd say even a beginner could very easily go with this razor. Super comfortable. That's one thing about many vintage razors, and if anyone tells you they're aggressive, there may be 2 or 3 of them. But look at the Gillette Aristocrat. Such a beautiful smooth razor to use. You know that design, this beautiful design here that kind of mimics an open and closed comb kind of thing, like a cage? It really helps. It really, really helps. It kind of tracks the hair beautifully. I didn't even realize it. I have friends who kept saying it's, a very mild razor, you're not going to enjoy it. It's actually beautiful. But mind you, even though it's not like open comb with those teeth. If you run your hands over it, I'm not going to do that now because there's a blade in there. But if you run your hands over the comb, it does feel a tad bit sharp. But when it's on the face, it's just so smooth. It's also the soap. It's probably also the soap. That residual slickness is just nuts. Beautiful razor. I had no idea. Um, I'm going to be honest, when I really don't know a product, I've not used it and I don't know anything about it. I'm just going to say it. But there are some of my pals, you ask them, have you shaved with this? And they'll say, oh yeah, I have. And you ask them, so what did you think about it? Oh, it was good. It's good. It's not too bad. Give me a decent shave. And then they come over to your place and they find you with the razor and they'll be like, what razor is this? Can't do that. I've just got to be honest. I do love this lather. It's just beautiful. Remember, well hydrated Zingariman soap's lather. It's just a joy to use. It doesn't have to be like thick on your face, but just as long as you get a good enough layer, the cushion and the protection is top notch always. The slickness is beautiful. Well, I love the soap. So if you haven't got yourself Amir, and I would say you like rose, anything woody, and a blend of that, and just oud sitting on top of it watching those two, go and get this. Beautiful soap. And the next time that Heather Melton says she leaves the fragrances to the experts, this is stunning. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful soap. I do like her own creations, and of course, I'm not saying that I don't like the ones that were created outside, like Mousse Illumine or Zingariman #1. I'm a big fan of all those, but the Traditionalist, isn't that the one? Or not the Traditionalist, Blackwood, even the Traditionalist. But her own fragrances that were created by her blends are really, really good. And I think we're good to go with our second pass. Let's find out how this one turns out. Very excited with the Eclipse Red Ring. I always wanted to shave with it. I missed out on the opportunity to buy the Phoenix Shaving Quantum a couple of times. And I do believe that they shave quite different from each other, although the design is pretty much the same. This is such a nimble little beauty. Just going to show you that base plate again, that open and closed comb kind of design, huge lather clearance, and behind, of course, that lovely magnet. I did not know about that magnet till I read the article that was written in the razor company. Go and read it. It's really informative. Forgot to mention, against the grain. Absolutely beautiful razor. I don't know how, but that the grooves are also on the top cap, as you can see, and they work so beautifully. And the soap is a perfect match for it. If you need great slickness, as I've always said, Zingariman. And skin-friendly soaps, always skin-friendly. I didn't check it out, but if you go to the TRC website, do find out if they have the matching aftershave splash as well, the recovery splash. That'd be a great set. That'd be like perfect. You would be smelling of it like for 6 or 7 hours, the whole day. Let me correct that. Your whole working day, depending on how many hours you work. I hope you're not the kind that burns the midnight oil. I thought there was a learning curve to this razor. There really isn't. You can just pick up with it and shave. I wish I could hold on to this razor, just have it for a short while, but definitely gonna get myself one of these. Just going with vintage. Do I like it more than many of the Gillettes I've used? Yes. Do I like it more than the Aristocrat 47 that I have? No. I'd say it's on par. It's a very different shave delivery, very different quality of shave, very different experience, and I'm enjoying it. Just had 2 touch-ups to do. One was here and one was here, but otherwise very, very efficient. There are some people that love the Red Ring. There are some people that find that the Red Ring is too mild. That's one of the things that Heather Melton soaps let you do. Buff. Wouldn't dare do it with the other soaps. Zingari just allows you to do that, and that's due to the residual slickness on the face. I'm going to give this razor a 10 on 10. Absolutely. Love the design. Love the way that it's shaved with a Gillette Platinum. Just such a beautiful shave. It's pretty much an autopilot razor. I just went with 2 passes and a few touch-ups. My face is fully clean. It's not a razor that's going to bite, and that's what the company set out to do. They wanted to create a razor that was going to be nick-free, irritation-free. I think it's a great product. It kind of, the popularity grew a lot, and then it fell around the time of the war, in the 40s. And then again, there was a revival for it later on, made in Sheffield, England, the great Sheffield steel, the heart of steel in the world, Sheffield steel. There was a revival, great interest in it for some period of time, but towards the 60s, it started kind of dipping out. And Gillette, of course, King C. Gillette, assumed the throne and stayed there for a long period of time. You've got to, hand it to them. So, just doing a quick cleanup. I've never been a fan of vintage razors, but of late, I really enjoyed shaving with some of them. The Aristocrat, which was gifted to me kindly by my friend Paul. It's 1947. I love that razor to bits. I do have a couple of gems that I haven't really started using, but once again, look at the razor company pre-owned vintage marketplace, and if one of these pops up, the Eclipse Red Ring, grab it, because I might just be in line for one as well. Absolutely stunning shaver, beautiful shaver. For the soap today, the star of the show, available at the razor company. Check out if the matching aftershave is available. Zingariman, the Sego base. Zingariman Amir. Let me just put it up here. The bowl was the Hendrix Classics and Company Lather bowl, stainless steel lather bowl. I used the Aesop synthetic Silvertip fiber, made in the same facility as Advent Jagger, so it's probably the same, manufacturer. And for the blade, I went with the Gillette Platinum. More and more, the Gillette Platinum and the Kais are blades that I've been using more and more, along with my favorites, which are the Wizamet. Time for Zingariman #1. This, of course, was done by the Byron Perfume House, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go with this Recovery Splash. I use this sparingly. I do love it very much. I've got the matching soap. It's such a joy, and such a nice match actually too. I'm sure if you get the exact matching aftershave to Amir, it's going to be even better, but this one just matches it really nicely. It's almost got a rose woody kind of sherbet-like projection. It's kind of Swedish, but really nice. Love it. That's it for the shave from me today. I do hope you enjoyed my time with the Red Ring Eclipse as much as I enjoyed using it. And I do hope that you go out and get Zingari Man Amir. Such a beautiful soap. Thank you for watching this video, and I'm going to be back with another shave real soon. But it's time for me, Gmac, to shut shop and ship out of here, and on behalf of the razor company to say bye-bye for now, and happy shaves as always, my friend.